All right, yeah, we live.
All right. Once again, this is Monday night class, history class. It is the ISUPK Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. We've been bringing this truth since 1969. And what is that truth? That truth is the so-called blacks, the so-called Hispanics, and the so-called natives are the greatest people that ever walked the face of this earth, and the Bible identifies us as the true biblical Jews of the Bible. And what that means is, if you are associated with one of these tribes on the back of this chart, you are a Jew. You are one of the biblical Jews that are spoken about in the Bible. You understand? Tonight's class, this is history class, and we're going to get into a little bit of history. This is what the class is all about. You understand? And with the history tonight, we're going to talk about our oppressor, as we always do, but we're going to talk about the evils of our oppressor, the real evils of our oppressor, and how our oppressor deceives us. You understand? We believe that America loves us. We just talked about that on the radio show. You understand? We get deceived time after time. We living in the spirit of our oppressor. When you vote, you're living in the spirit of your oppressor. You understand? When we believe the propaganda of our oppressor, that our people, and when I say our people, I'm speaking of blacks, Hispanics, and natives. When we believe that our people are the evil ones of the earth, we're living in the spirit. We are deceived by the oppressor. You understand? I want to get into an article that I pulled up, and we talked about it earlier, but I'm going to go back on it again. It's this article from May 20th, 2026, U.S. indicts former Cuban president Raul Castro. Now, the indictment really comes from, matter of fact, let me read into it a little bit.
Can you send that to me?
Come, sir.
So I want to pull it up on here.
I'll send it to you. Here we go. You got that? Okay. It's a little lengthy article. It says what we covered today. It says the Trump administration has indicted former Cuban president Raul Castro, 94 years old. Now think about it, right? I've seen when they have caught up with oppressors at a rightful old age, you understand? And they say, you understand, well, we can't really indict him because, he's having all these ailments, things like that. They always make up excuses, you understand? But when it comes to us, they make sure they indict us no matter what, you understand? It says, they indicted former Cuban president Raul Castro, 94, on charges that stem from his alleged role in the 1996 shoot down of 2 civilian aircrafts that killed 4 people, including 3 Americans. Now, that's heavy, right? Because it comes from 1996. You understand? And it says, while announcing the charges, acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche said President Donald Trump will not forget its citizens. Separately, the president said the U.S. will make an announcement on the embargo against Cuba pretty soon. What does these charges come from? You understand? It says the Cuban government condemned the charges, describing them as a despicable and infamous act of political provocation. The indictment comes from a tense time for U.S.-Cuban relations, with the Trump administration declaring the Cuban government is a threat to the U.S. national security. Cuba is also dealing with a collapse of its energy sector due to an oil blockade following the U.S. attack on Cuba's oil-rich ally, Venezuela. America understands that, you understand. Let me rewind it. What does the charges come from? Charges come from a 1996 Passover that American planes passed over Cuba into Cuban airspace. The Cubans warned the airplanes on 3 different occasions that it was passing into their airspace, and they had to turn back. The planes ignored Cuba, and Cuba took down those planes. Now, we all know that if you pass into America's airspace, America will take you down with no problem. You understand? But America can ignore when they run into somebody else's airspace, somebody that looks weaker than them. You understand? Because America definitely doesn't run into China airspace. They definitely don't run into Russian airspace or any other power like North Korea and other sovereign countries like that. They make sure they pass by. But when it comes to small countries like a Venezuela, when it comes to small countries like a Cuba or something like that, they feel like they can do what they want to do. And this is what bullies do. You understand? Can we hit that first scripture, Cap?
Okay. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you.
Listen. The scripture says, let no man deceive you. And this is what America does. America is a deceitful nation. This is part of the great American way. And we talked about this earlier with eminent domain, Cap. Eminent domain is a deceitful way to steal land from people. You understand? As a government, and use government authority to take things from people. The scripture says, let no man deceive you. And this is what we often do, especially being captive in America. We allow America to deceive us. Well, guess what? America didn't deceive Cuba on that day. You understand? Because Cuba took down those planes. You understand? Which is what they were supposed to do when someone ignores your warnings. You understand? As a sovereign country. Not to mention, America has been trying to take Cuba down for the last 60 years. You understand? And America was pissed off about that. You understand? And this is an indictment from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
1996, 96, what's that? 2006, 16, 26, 30 years ago.
30 decades.
30 years. And listen, listen, America tells us to forget, but they never forget. You understand? And this is the reason why we should not forget the things that happened to us. Because America, if you should learn one thing from America, is not to forget the atrocities that America has did to us. You understand? Because America will never forgive you or forget the anything that you have done to America. Just like they didn't forget about that Haitian war, right? Look at what's happening to Haiti right now because of America, Great Britain, and all those other European countries. You understand? They don't forget. Look at what they've been in. Cuba has been under embargo since the 60s. Let's go back to 1957. 1957, Cuba has been on the hit list of America. You understand? They never forget. America never forgets. You understand? Let me go back. What did I just do? Come on. All right, here we go. The indictment comes at a tense time for Cuban relations, with the Trump administration declaring Cuban government is a threat to the U.S. national security. Cuba is also dealing with the collapse of its energy sector due to an oil blockade following the U.S. attack on Cuba, oil-rich Venezuela. Let's see. Let me drop down a little bit. It says the U.S. government indicted former Cuban President Raul Castro with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals, destruction of an aircraft, and murder. Did you hear that? Let's go back. It says with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals. Let me ask a question. In these last couple of months, how many Iranian nationals did the U.S. and Israelis knockoff. Let's not forget the 9 scientists, Iranian scientists that they unalived. Wait, but there's more. I'm gonna show you how ugly America is. America has displaced, and I can't say unalive because nobody knows where they are, but displaced 9 of their own scientists. This is what we talk about when we say America doesn't even care about its own. You understand? But how about the president of Iran and the prime minister of Iran when they blew up that Huey helicopter that they had gave them 20 years before.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So let me ask you this: who indicted Trump then when that happened? Did Trump get indicted by any nation? Did any nation condemn them for that? You understand? And we look at America and we listen to the propaganda of America. We get deceived by America, believing that every word that comes from the mouth of the government of America, America itself, and our oppressor is true to word. It says conspiracy to kill U.S. national, destruction of aircrafts. How many aircrafts has America shot down? Let's go even further. How many boats have America destroyed? How many fishing boats with people who were just regular citizens that America destroyed? And we never look and say, well, you understand, America, you understand, did this to other people. How can they come back and indict somebody on something that they have done across the earth? You understand? And not to mention the last part, they said murder. Salakia, sir, if I may, right? I know Obama inherited that Afghan war, right? But under the Obama administration, how many what do they call it? Civilian Afghans were unalived in that Afghan war.
They're saying it's in the millions. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, that's what they say. In the millions. We talking about 3 Americans as opposed to over 1 million civilians in Afghan.
Can I mention something?
Mention it, sir.
And then the so-called liberals. When we mention liberals, what's the other side? Liberals, and you got a conservative.
Yeah.
When we mention that, we're not on any particular side. Recognize and understand that first. I'm just pointing out a particular side at the time.
Right.
They say Barack Obama was the best. You only say Barack Obama was the best president because of the perception of Barack Obama.
Right.
Barack Obama and Donald Trump is the same man. They're both murderous scumbags that don't give a damn about Black and Hispanic and Native Indian people. Barack Obama was locking up brothers and sisters in cages also.
Yep.
Barack Obama was unaliving Arabs in the Middle East also.
Yep.
Did he do this with Iran? Yes. Did he do, whatever? Who cares? I know this for sure. He's a murderer.
Right.
I know this for sure about Donald Trump. He's a rapist and a murderer.
Right.
And a pedophile. You want to choose which one to follow? That's your democracy.
Right.
You.
And see, just like you said, too, Cap Salagi, if I may, we get deceived by appearance, just like we got deceived by the appearance of Kamala Harris, right? But I want to bring it back to Obama again, right? Obama came into office, what was that, 2008, right? Am I right? 2008. 2008, 2009, let's say that, right? They assassinated Osama bin Laden in 2011, right? Obama ran another term, right? He won another term after that, right? And then those people never came out of Afghanistan. They said they was going over there to get Osama bin Laden. In 2011, they got Osama bin Laden, but they stayed over there. You understand? How many innocent people did they unalive after Osama bin Laden? Millions. Hundreds of thousands. You understand? We get deceived every time they say we're going to do this, and we believe it. And nobody ever questioned, like when they got Osama bin Laden in 2011, they said we were going to get him, and once we get him, we coming out. They didn't come out of Afghanistan until when? 2021. Because it wasn't until Biden was the one pulled them out. You understand? So this is well after Obama. Obama is a murderer of the earth. You understand? He's just like his father, the devil. He's just like they all are deceivers. They all are heathens. Obama is not our people. You understand? We just get deceived by looks. And the Bible tells us, let no man deceive you. Not only does it say, let no man deceive you, but it says, let no man deceive you by any means. It says, no matter what you think about a person, let no man deceive you. That's what that by any means, no matter what you think about them, because our thoughts being in America are always the opposite of what's really going on, because our oppressor is a deceitful person, and living and being in captivity under a deceitful person. Every time we figure somebody is good, it's always somebody evil. Think about this. I'm not going to get too far off, but remember the movie The Blind Side? Remember all the good and everything good they said about this white couple that took in this Negro. You understand? And then he came out and then told the truth about these white people. You understand? It gave you a whole new thought. But the problem is a lot of us still believe that book. A lot of us still believe that fairy tale. A lot of us believe that because we want to believe that our oppressor is really good. You understand? The Bible says, let no man deceive you by any means. Now, listen. It said the charges stem from a 1996 shoot down of two civilian aircraft belonging to the Cuban American Exile Organization, Brothers to the Rescue. Castro's Cuban defense minister at the time is alleged to have ordered the attack. Think about this, right? Not ordered the shoot down of two planes illegally in your airspace, but they call it an attack. You understand? And America uses words to sit in your mind. They use the words having ordered the attack, which killed 4 men, including 3 American citizens and 1 permanent resident. You understand? The words that they use are specific. You understand? And those words that they use are used to deceive us, to sway us one way or the other. You understand? Just like you said earlier, Cap, it's the propaganda that they use. And wordplay is propaganda. What do they call that? What do they call it?
Wordplay? Yeah.
Yeah, but what's the word that they use when you say you're using words to deceive people to go in a different direction? Etymology. It would be etymology, right? Because the words you're saying, it means one thing, but it's giving you it's meaning something else. I believe it's etymology. And etymology is something that they use in law a lot. And they'll use etymology to say something to you in court to make you believe they speaking the one thing, but they really talking about something else.
Etymology. Etymology is the study of the origin of words and how their forms and meanings have changed throughout history. Etymology.
Yeah, etymology. But etymology, they'll twist it and make you believe one thing, but they really talking about something else. You understand? Just like Think about that that post that they showed a couple of weeks ago, 8646.
About the Trump assassination.
Right. But when we say 86 something, that means get rid of it. Doesn't necessarily mean to unalive somebody or murder them. Hey, yo, 86 him. He ain't no good worker. Get rid of him. 86 him. I heard that a lot. You understand, coming up and especially working on job sites and things like that. They say, look, really, 86 him.
It's really a military.
It's a military term. Yeah. Right. It's a military term, but it doesn't mean. And so when we hear stuff, we get deceived by stuff. And then all of a sudden, when they start saying, he says unalive somebody, he said 86 unalive, that sits in your head. You understand? When we use
context behind it.
It's the context behind it. You understand? And this is the wordplay that they use to make us
people purposely
misuse or misquote
in order to particularly fit their agenda or their perception of a particular scenario,
or to sway you one way or the
other. Exactly. See, well, Mr. Johnson said X, Y, and Z, but they'll give it a different context behind it to sway a party here or there.
You know where we hear that at most of the time? In court.
Court all the time. Yeah.
So in court they'll say, well, this is what we're saying. Okay, if I say, you understand, a particular word, then it means this. So when you say it in court, this is what it means. But we know what it means when we out on the street. You understand? And you know the context. Yo, you be like, even when you get mad and say, man, I'm a killer, you don't mean you're going to kill him.
Right.
But because when you write something, it looks a particular way, as opposed to when people say, well, you got to understand the context and what we were doing at the time to really get the meaning of it. But when they put stuff in words, when you're in court and they let people read it, it sounds a different way. You understand what I'm saying? Wordplay.
Hold on real quick. Let me, you can continue. I'm going to get if I could, I don't mean to intrude.
No, go ahead, sir.
So I can do the check.
I'm going to keep on reading while you doing that.
Let me get your CNN article. Let me make sure I'm on the right. Yeah, go ahead.
You want to get the one that I'm reading?
Yeah, I got the one that you're reading already.
Oh, okay.
And I just want to make sure they can see. But in the meantime, I got to get something on what you just said.
Okay. It says the U.S. government indicted former President Raul Castro with conspiracy.
I got it.
I got that. I read that part.
Hold up. Let me. I got this skit right. I want to play. It's a comedy skit.
Okay.
With Key and Peele. And let me get this real quick. This is about context.
Podcast, but not sure how. Riverside has got you covered. First, go to.
You see,
I've been trying to reach out to you all day.
They have different context.
Are we on for tonight? Jeez.
What? You can't catch me. You can't catch me. I'm Lance Moore. Touchdown, bitch. What? Pause.
I hope we don't get flagged for this, but in this scene, they're testing each other, right. But they have different context about what each another are saying.
Right. Sorry, dude. Missed your texts. I assumed we'd meet at the bar. Whatever. I don't care.
Sorry, dude. Missed your texts. I assumed we'd meet at the bar. Whatever. I don't care.
Right.
Whatever, I don't care.
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
I got to go too far, but the skit can continue. Like
right.
The one brother is genuine with his text, and the other brother is taking it.
I don't mind. Yeah, we could be there.
Yeah, he's taking it in a bad way.
In
context.
And that's what happened. And let's go real with that, right? Because I've done that in texting people, and they took it the wrong way. And then you gotta call them and actually speak it out to them.
God.
And oh, I thought you were saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the thing with words. So in court, if you look at when you're in court, they write stuff out on paper. So whatever you say is written on paper. It's the context is not really given to you.
Right.
And what you hear is what you hear because you're reading this. You understand?
And also this month, if I sometimes I get it, I get the rhyme sometimes. But also this, like, with that being said, they'll purposely read something and I think I said this already, Salagi, if I'm repeating myself, but they'll purposely read off something or read a text and give it a context,
right,
to fit their narrative.
Right.
So
And that's how they do. Yeah, that's how they do.
This we see you on the show, Sister Why.
Okay, what's going on, Sister Why? But let's hit that scripture again. Let's finish with that scripture. You said the let no man deceive you by any means. You understand? And that's the whole thing right there.
By any means, for that day shall not come.
What day we talking about? What day shall not come? The day that
The end.
Yeah, the end, the day that Christ returned to destroy our enemies. You understand? And what we're looking at right now, what we're looking at is we looking at the destruction of our enemies right now. In the beginning, and every end always has a beginning. And right now we seeing the beginning of the end. So it might look like it's happening real slow right now, but when you look up and you start seeing the destruction, because think about it. We talked about the wars and rumors of wars. We've been talking about that since January 6th, the wars and the rumors of wars. And now we're starting to see the wars come to fruition right now. How long ago was January 6th, Cap? That was that 4 years ago? 3 years ago?
I think 5 now. I think he's some.
But it don't seem like it been that long. But if you look how long ago January 6th happened, right? January 6th happened a while ago, but if you think about January 6th and you think about what's going on right now, it don't even seem like it been that long. You understand? A war,
could have brought that out in the reparations. They got reparations.
for the
The
Africans.
the 1 point something billion with the
1.8 billion. Oh my God! Listen, this is another thing, right? You brought that out. Listen, let no man deceive you by any means, right? And then they turn around and they make a reparation fund for the January 6th people. And then have you heard how they trying to make
to the left.
Okay. Have you seen how they try to make up excuses for what they need this fund for? Think about this, right? Somebody who attacked the nation's capital, right? People who attacked the nation. Listen, you know what that's like, Cap? That's like paying the British after they attacked, America, and paying the British reparations because they lost. Think about it. I'm trying to give you something that you can see, right? That's like paying the people who attacked the Haitians after they lost. Ain't they trying to do that? Mm-hmm. The people getting reparations for the. You know what? This is a history of America. This is a footprint of America.
Got reparations. The farmers,
the slave owners. Slave owners got reparations. After slavery ended,
you brought out the Chinese earlier.
Yeah,
in the news.
Yeah, they got reparations too. You understand? After Pearl Harbor, after bombing of Pearl Harbor, this is a footprint of America. This is something that America does occasionally. You understand? On several occasions, they have given reparations to people who didn't deserve reparations. Think about the people who they lock up. Think about brothers that been released from prison for 40 and 50 years and they found innocent. Their whole lives have been destroyed and they give them nothing. Think about that. You understand? We see that damn near every day. Somebody coming home saying, oh, they found out he wasn't guilty. Oh, and this is what they do with us, right? They wait till all of the people are deceased or unalived before they bring out and say, oh, well, we have nobody to convict. That's just like before they released any files of Martin Luther King, not that we on the side of Martin Luther King, but they wait for everybody to be deceased. Anybody who had anything to do with it, they wait for them to be deceased. Just like Emmett Till. They wait for the lady to be the one who lied on him to be unalive before they come out and say he was innocent. You understand? This is what they do to blacks, Hispanics, and natives. And this is the reason why we say you can't trust your enemy. Be not deceived by any means. And we allow them to deceive us by any means. We believe in America. We live that spirit of America. The spirit of America is in us. And listen, this is the reason why too, when they're teaching us, and the first thing that we learn when we go to school is what? Pledge of allegiance. We pledge our allegiance as children to America, to a republic for which they really stand. You understand? We pledge our allegiance away from our people to a republic, to a democracy that stands against us.
Right.
And you learn as a child to give away your allegiance to people who hate us. You understand? And this is the reason why the doctrine of exclusion of 1638, Maryland Doctrine of Exclusion, stipulates that no slave, descendant of a slave or black person, shall enjoy the fruits of white society. What is a fruit of white society? A fruit of white society is being able to educate your own people. We don't have the power to educate our own children. You understand? We don't have the power to feed our own children. We don't have the power to build and construct universities for our own children. This is why we are destroyed as a people, destroyed so much so that we have that spirit of America in us. We have pledged our allegiance away from our own people to the very people that are set to destroy us. Listen, what more can we say about that? You understand? Look at how we live in. No slave, descendant of a slave or black person shall enjoy the fruits of white society. The Bible tells us we have to go to our oppressor for all our needs and wants. We got to go to our oppressor for a job. We have to go to our oppressor when it's time to eat. Listen, we have to go to our oppressor to work for our oppressor to get money, to give back to our oppressor to feed our families. That's a fruit of white society. Being able to pay your own people to feed your family and make that money revolve. Listen, when they destroyed all those black cities and towns, not starting with Tulsa, Oklahoma, because it started way before then, but that's the one we know. You understand? Black Wall Street. That's the one we know. But they begin to destroy all of those black cities and towns because when America was going through its Great Depression, and this is something that a lot of us don't know, when America was going through that Great Depression, we were thriving. Why were we thriving? Because we did not believe in our oppressor. We did not trust our oppressor. We were not deceived by the very people that were set to destroy us. So in order to put us back in bondage, they begin to destroy all of those cities, those black cities and towns all around America. We talked about this earlier, the eminent domain. America uses eminent domain so that the government can come in and take property. If you don't take it at a lower value, they automatically take it from you. You understand? And then they run those roads and buildings and industries through your black cities and towns. This is the reason why, just like we was talking earlier, when you see roads swerving and turning and you like, damn, well, why didn't they just go straight? Because it would have been a straight shot. Well, it's so that they can use eminent domain and be justified. When you see that, when you go to Philly, right?
Hold on, real quick before you go to Philly. Before you go to Philly, hold the thought. They tried to do the same thing in Baltimore. That's why you got that that stretch of 40. That stretch of 40, right? You want to go ahead.
The road to nowhere.
The road to nowhere.
That's what they call it, the road to nowhere, because that was, listen, it's coming straight through the middle of the city.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden it stops.
Yep.
And then for years, when I was a kid, I used to say, "Mom, why did that road?"
That's the whole point.
What is it? You understand?
White folks like, nah, you destroying our businesses. We need folk to run through this town.
Right.
See that store right here. See that store right here. It's all black now. So, but I mean,
the problem is they messed up doing the schematics, and it ran the same way that Franklintown ran.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it couldn't destroy and it couldn't run through and they couldn't use eminent domain, because what happened was it goes so straight that it goes the same way as Franklintown goes. And then if they was to use eminent domain, then they would have had to drill through. If you know, Emerson Avenue goes up and it's on a hill.
Yeah.
So now you got to dig a hole through the hill.
Right.
Or you got to go through and it's nothing but
was it supposed to
drop down?
Was it supposed to go to 70?
No. It's not supposed to go to 70, but
the 70 come later.
But if you look at it, right, when you come across the Emerson Street Bridge, it's a gully.
Right.
So you coming across, and then everywhere that it's going, I don't know if you ever heard of Lincoln Park? But they got what's the name? What's the name? Dave?
Hey, Chad, this is real Baltimore. It got real local real quick.
Right. But they got what's the name? Dave Park that goes. It actually would have went through nothing but woods, and it wouldn't really.
Long cross because we see you in the chat.
It would not have affected the way the bridge was going. It would not have affected any city, any what's the name. So it didn't make sense for them to have Hilton Street coming around, and then you got Route 40 going up, and then you got this street that if you want to take it through a black city or a black community, it made no sense.
Right.
When you had Hilton Street right here, you had Lincoln Park, the little bend behind there that goes out to Woodlawn right there. And
the one that's adjacent to Hilton.
Yeah, that's adjacent to Hilton.
Yeah.
But
it goes down.
It goes out Woodlawn.
It goes down to Franklin.
Yeah,
and then Franklin goes to Woodlawn.
Yeah, it got Leon Day.
Catonsville.
Leon Day Park. The park.
It's all wood. It's all woods right there.
Yeah, it's all woods, but it made no sense. So they had to stop, and the bridge stopped, and it sits right there. And then back in the early 2000s, they started filming and saying this is the bridge to nowhere.
Right.
And it stopped right there. You understand? And it was a dumb move by the oppressor to destroy something that he made bad calculations coming off of that viaduct and coming up, and then realized once they got to that stretch that damn. Then you had
the Amtrak. But the viaduct is over there by Northern. Right?
If they would have kept
not North Ave.
But think about it, right? If they would have kept going, what would they have had to knock down?
A bunch of
no
towns.
Something major.
What are you talking about? Going into the city or coming from the city?
Going in. Remember when it stopped right there? What did it stop in front of?
It stopped that old government building right there, Green Street.
The Mark Train.
Okay, yeah, the Mark
Train goes across.
That's right. That's right at the
bridge.
Okay.
Remember,
right.
it's only a half a block that's spanned right there, and then you see it.
Well, yeah, it stops there, and
you
then
got the Mark Train goes across, and a regular train goes across. So, how do you go up and then over and come down, or do you just break the whole train line? You break the whole train line. That's the whole system. That's almost like the Straits of Hormuz. You cut all of that.
Come on.
You understand what I'm saying? So when you look at it,
for those that don't know, that Mark Train, it goes straight to New York, Pennsylvania, DC,
That goes all
That's
the way
that's
back.
like a major. That's like a major.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So it was a major mess up by them.
Con.
You understand? Because you also had the regular train that came through with goods too, that came across that same bridge. Because we used to walk.
Both trains use that
Not both of them. No. But the MARC train, that's where my nephew used to get off when he would come from DC.
Con.
He would get off right there.
What's that stop? Is it called New Carrollton? Or New Carrollton?
No, New Carrollton. No,
That's further down.
that's New Carrollton.
That's going towards DC.
No, New Carrollton is
Is
going towards DC. Yeah, that's New Carrollton.
is that the next stop, or
That's what.
what is the stop right there by on Emerson? What is that stop called?
That's just called Franklintown. That's Franklintown.
Okay.
That's the Franklintown stop.
'Cause it's
That's
been
the
a
MARC
while.
train, but remember, Penn Station is the main where the
Off of Charles Street. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the main.
Con.
But that's where my nephew coming from DC. That's where he would get off right there because my grandmother and them lived right up the street.
Con.
He could boom, and his father's grandmother lived on the other side, a block and a half away.
Con.
So when you look at that viaduct coming across, right, the MARC train sitting right here, going back down
Mhm.
like that
Con.
and up towards DC.
Con.
So then
It's
you
going.
got
It's going under the viaduct.
under. Actually, it's right over the viaduct is pointing right at it like that.
Con.
And then when we used to walk from down to Mondawmin, you had the regular train that came across too.
Con.
You understand? So this is crazy that when you look at it, when you look at that viaduct, it go right to that MARC train spot.
Right.
So they would have had to either knock the MARC train spot out, or they would have had to go up or down. Because I used to always say, is that the steps right there that they walk up?
Right on
But
the
they
joint,
made
right on the
steps
side
the
of
other side. Yeah,
right on Franklin to the left.
right.
They doing a bunch of construction right there now, but
Yeah.
right there to the left, cats go up. Yeah.
And then they gotta think about the money that they put into it, that they took from us
Right.
as our parents, as taxpayers. That was money wasted that nobody got anything back for it. You understand? But when you look at it, I mean, it's coming out of our pockets. It not only coming out of our pockets, but they destroy a part of the Black community by having that eyesore right there for so many decades. We ain't talking about just years. We talking decades.
Yeah.
That thing was there when I was young.
Right. It still makes no sense.
Yeah. So
It still makes no sense.
now I believe they probably gonna try to do something with it now. But I mean, think about the decades that it sat there. You understand? Let no man deceive you by any means, least that day shall come.
Yeah.
Least.
Let's get some. Yeah, we didn't went off for
Yeah,
a
we
minute.
But it was important because it
ties in.
shows,
It ties
in and it shows the deceitfulness and it shows the foolery of the oppressor.
But I know where he was going. You was about to speak on another landmass.
Listen, I was about to, Cat, but and I forgot. You know what I mean? When we go somewhere, listen, this is why we gotta. When we be doing stuff, and it's like, no, I be remembering, and then I forget. If we go somewhere, sometimes I gotta have my finger on something like this and be like, I can't hear. You know what I mean?
Let's get some more of the script real quick.
Go ahead. Come.
Except there come a falling away first.
And listen, right now is what's really happening. That falling away is coming right now. What's happening is people are starting to wake up to this truth. You understand? People are falling away from Christianity. You understand? People are falling away from Islam. You understand? They falling away from the democracy. They falling away from those politicians. They falling away from those preachers and pastors because they understanding that these preachers and pastors, these politicians are lying to our people. You understand? And they've been lying to us since the beginning. And the only people that's getting paid, Shalom, Lord Christ, what's going on with you, bro? Okay. He said he was running a little bit late, but Al-Azhar is in the building, people. Al-Azhar is in the building. But a lot of our people are falling away from Christianity. We're falling away from Islam. We're falling away from that Buddhism, and we're falling away from the politics the politicians, the preachers, and the pastors, because these are the things that keep us locked into the oppressor. These are the things that keep us believing. Think about it, right? We talked about this earlier. This is what keeps us believing that voting is going to help us. This is what makes us believe that being a Democrat is the most powerful thing. Being a Republican is the strong side. You understand? All of these things are what keeps us locked into the oppressor and keeps us deceived. You understand? But the scriptures tell us, let no man deceive you by any means, lest that day shall not come, lest there come a falling away first. And what we have to do is we have to fall away from the ways of the oppressor. What did the scripture tell us? The scripture tell us, learn not the way of the heathen. And by us being into politics, by us being into democracy, by us being into Christianity, that's learning the way of the heathen. And we have to fall away from that. You understand? We have to stop believing in the things that have not produced fruit. What the scriptures say, a good tree produces good fruit. You understand? An evil tree produces evil fruit. Let me ask a question. What has Christianity what has Christianity pushed out? Epstein. You understand? Epstein and Trump. And wait a minute. A lot of people, we talked about this. I talked about this earlier. A lot of people don't even understand that Epstein had something to do with the Iran-Contra scandal. The drugs that came in on those planes, Epstein had a team of people to come in and clean those planes from top to bottom. Epstein knew about the Iran-Contra scandal and was a part of it. So not only was he a pedophile, you understand, not only was he a schemer, but he was also a destroyer of Black people in itself. You understand? That's another thing that's coming out now too. You understand? He had everything to do with the Iran-Contra scandal. You understand? And there's a lot of other people connected to that. You understand? And pretty soon, a lot of this stuff is going to be coming out. But we are destroyed people to believe that our oppressor is really set to help us. You understand? At least they come a falling away first, falling away from the ways of the heathen. Go ahead, Cap.
Except they come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed.
Now look at what's happening now, right? Look at what's happening now. Everybody's starting to see the truth. You understand? Everybody's starting to see what our oppressor is really, what they call it, what their actual agenda is. You understand? We beginning to see that we are here to be the workhorses that we are. You understand? To continue to drive this machine forward. And listen, think about this, right? We look at the oppressors that live in all these beautiful neighborhoods, right? And we never see them complaining. You understand what I'm saying? We never see them complaining. Why? Because when it comes time to take extra taxes, all your tax ID numbers and everything like that, these are the things that they use, and they know that, okay, these are the Black people right here. These are those people right here. All of that stuff that you understand, everybody gets taxed the same. That's a goddamn lie.
You can get the next one.
You understand? That's a goddamn lie. You understand? We destroyed as a people to really believe that this is a land of equal opportunity. We believe we drank the Kool-Aid. We really believe that there's equality in America. Think about this, right? We look at basketball players, football players, entertainers. We all say, oh yeah, they billionaires, they millionaires, they billionaires. But a real millionaire or billionaire can speak what he wants to speak and not have to worry about his account being frozen, money being taken from him having to stand in front of a rabbi and listen to the bull crap that a rabbi is going to speak to you, telling you who the real Jew is.
He don't got to worry about his image.
He ain't got to worry about his image. You understand? Think about it.
And can I add before you continue
Please,
just
sir.
a tad bit?
Go ahead, sir.
on the scripture, like also, like if I could, with the man of sin being revealed part. If I could just to interject just a tad bit, I want to speak on something. His, the perception of the oppressor
Right.
is like dwindling. Like we always, especially with me, an expert on the espionage and the propaganda of the white man. He's an expert. He'd do a whole class on that. You know what I mean? And that perception of him is like crumbling.
Right.
You know, down to a residue. Like even his own people's looking at him liberal, so-called liberal, and so-called conservatives. That's why you got Candace Owens, she's still a coon, and you got Tucker Carlson, still a devil.
Right.
They going up against Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. Their image and their perception as the good guys, as the one we should follow, whether it be Democrat or Republican, their entire persona, their entire image, is greatly diminished.
Yeah, it's crumbling.
So, and they don't even give a damn what they look like. They don't give a damn about they don't need a PR team. They're just going to do what they want and just go destroy all of Gaza and continue with Lebanon and Iran.
Right.
And they say after Epstein files, we're not releasing them. You don't even hear about it no more. It's not even a question in the White House press conferences no more. Not even a question. It's like the world to move on when your president is a child molester,
right,
and a rapist. Like, what in the hell is even happening right now?
Right.
So that's all I wanted to
listen. Check this out.
I know it's a
glad you brought that up, though, right? Because think about this now. You just said Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens. But I want to touch on Candace Owens, right? Think about how hard the years that she pushed President Trump. Think about them. Think about how she feel right now. Even though she talking against them now, but think about, when you say this something. Think about, this is the first thing that comes to my mind, especially when I make a bad choice, right? And I say to myself, like, damn, all them years that I spoke up for that person. You know what I mean? And you like, the whole time you kicking yourself in the butt because you like, yo, why didn't I see this? But again, that's being in the spirit of America. When you in the spirit of America, you have blinders on. You don't see the things that you really should see. You really have tunnel vision. And you ever hear somebody say, take a step back and look at the full picture? That's what that term really means, because a lot of times, if you get right up on the picture with a magnifying glass, you only see a small piece of that picture. The piece of the picture that you really want to fight for. But if you stand back and you look at the full picture, you're like, damn, oh no, that's not worth fighting for.
Right.
You understand? And that's how a lot of us, especially when you see black people with MAGA hats on, or you see black people sitting behind Trump with Trump flags and what's the name? Right?
Blacks for Trump.
Blacks for Trump, right? And then even in the possibility of getting paid, it's certain things that respectable black men won't do, respectable black women won't do. One thing we won't do, especially here in the UPK, is we not standing for Trump for anything. You understand? Let alone any politician. You understand? But I'm making a depiction. You understand? That's something that you would never catch us. You understand what I'm saying? And the way that I know she probably feels right now is like, yo, every night you go to sleep, you lay your head on that pillow like, damn, how did I miss that? Especially for a black woman so highly educated. You understand? And our black women stand on education. You understand? They stand on black girl power and all that bull. You understand what I'm saying? When it should be the power of us together. You understand? And that's another piece of propaganda that our black women fall for. You understand? Oh, if it wasn't for, think about the strength that they always talk about that they have. And I don't want to go too far off, but when you look at what the strength that has been given to them, look how destroyed our families are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because they believe the propaganda given to them by the oppressor. You understand? When you kick your man out of the house for a check and some stamps, that's you drinking the Kool-Aid. You understand? Now, I'm not saying that every man is perfect, but when the majority of you do it and you do it for a check and some stamps.
Now, they're not even doing that for that. They doing it for sure now, but
Right.
now they just doing it out of spite.
Out of spite. But where did that spite come from? That spite comes from us being so oppressed that when she's given something, she feels like this is what I did. And I'm raising up my family.
Right.
You understand?
Not seeing the white man.
Not seeing that,
the oppressor.
you know, and exactly. So when they talk about, oh, we're the most educated ones on the planet. So if you're so goddamn educated, why is our family so destroyed?
Uh-huh.
What is and when a woman speaks of education, asks her, so what's our plan on building our black families back up? She'll have no question. She'll have no answer. You understand? And that's not to put down, because there are some beautiful black educated women out here who understand where our problems stem from. You understand? And our problems stem from being oppressed by this oppressor, being under oppressive laws. Now, think about this, right? Our oppressor is such a schemer and such a deceiver that he says, maybe if I let her get a foot up over him, then that'll put her pride up over him. That'll cause her to want to destroy her family. You understand? And take, precedence over the family. Listen, it's order in everything, right? The Most High gave us order. You have the Most High, you have Christ, you have man, you have woman, and you have children. There's order in everything. Once you step out of order, what are you? Out of order. Once you step out of order, things are out of order. That's what the word out of order means. Let's use the right word. Once you usurp your authority over your man, you understand, you step out of order, meaning you have been deceived by the oppressor to believe that you are the strength of the family and it can't go any other way but your way. And listen, we was tripping the other day, right? It was 90 degrees outside and you got kids with masks on, hoodies on, and jackets on with sweatpants. 90 degrees. You understand? If they ain't destroyed children, tell me what are they? You understand? To really believe I can be out here at 90 degrees. And you seen how frail they looking now too, right?
That's a psychologically destroyed young person.
Yeah, psychologically destroyed.
They're hiding.
Yeah.
They're hiding
everything.
You know what I'm saying? They're just hiding under that they're hiding under that hoodie. That's the only way they know how to do it.
A lot of their spirits are destroyed. You understand? Because of the oppression that we are under. And so much so, think about this, right? And I'm gonna end it right here, Cap. But think about this, right? I remember being back in school, or no, not being back in school, coming out of school, and they started talking about you couldn't discipline your kid in the way that you felt was the right way. When they start taking your power away from you, then telling kids if anything happens or if your parents put their hands on you, call the police. You understand? When they started bringing up charges on parents for disciplining children. Now, I ain't talking about the ones who beating them half to death. I'm not talking about that. But we talking about regular discipline. You understand that every child who steps out of line should experience. You understand? When they start taking those powers from you, and again, a fruit of white society being able to You understand? Educate your own children. When you lose that power of education, when you lose the power of feeding a community, when you lose the power of feeding your people, you understand? 2026, what you see out there is the cause. You understand? When you ride by and you like, damn, yo, how are they doing that? You know what I mean? And it's like everybody doing the same thing. Everybody is cookie cutter. When I was coming up, yo, you had dudes was diverse. Dudes wore different stuff. You understand what I'm saying? It was never a time where everybody did the same thing. Never. This is what we living in right now is unprecedented times because we've been destroyed by the oppressor, because we believe in the oppressor, because we've been deceived. You understand? I mean, think about this, right? I can guarantee you when we leave up out of here, we're going to definitely see we're going to see a bunch of them with hoodies and everything else on the mask on like that. You understand what I'm saying?
Bubble jacket.
Bubble jacket,
a
hoodie and a ski mask.
Yep. Skinny jeans.
Skinny jeans
or sweats.
Listen,
skinny sweats.
I'm gonna go back to 2000. I'm gonna go back to 2006. Yo, when I was in downtown locker room and I heard two dudes. They was only a little younger than me, but the dude was like, yo, these skinny sweatpants came out. That's all I wear now, the skinny sweatpants. And I'm saying to myself, like, son, listen, think about this, right? Who wears tight pants?
Women.
Why do they wear tight pants? To show their figure, right? So as a man, why would you want to wear tight pants? To show what? You know what I mean? But I know why the Europeans make them, so that they can see your figure. That's why they make those because remember, the European suits was the first joint out. European cut suits was the first joints out. When I was young, we used to always wonder why white men wore tight pants like that. Why is pants so tight? And then they be high waters. You know what I mean? And then they would have one of them hush puppy shoes. Hush puppy was slick, but you had to have the jeans down over top of them. Then they look real slick, right? And then they had to be a little baggy, bam. But white boys was just the opposite: tight pants, high waters, and you can see their socks and their shoes. You know what I mean? Well, we falling into that same thing because we've been deceived by the oppressor.
And look for a time in like the early 2000s, right? When it like black folks started doing business casual.
Right.
We did business casual our way. Like we would wear baggy business clothes.
Right.
Like it was an era like we had baggy button downs.
Yeah.
Baggy, like look at LeBron old photos.
Yeah.
And them cats. It was kind of silly with it, but so was the zoot suits.
Right.
The zoot suits was considered silly, but it was our thing. It was our style.
That was
like look
Hispanic style.
Look at Thelonious Monk. Thelonious Monk. They used to play piano. He had a long ass business jacket.
Right.
I mean, he wasn't like it wasn't cut and clean like white folk were. Right. We had our own swag. You know what I'm saying?
Our own style.
Yeah.
Understand? Hey, listen. With that, with the Israelite School, Universal Practical Knowledge started out 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. We've been bringing this troop since 1969. And what is that troop? That the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and the so-called natives are the greatest people that ever walked the face of this earth. And the Bible identifies us as the true biblical Jews of the Bible. Hey, listen, don't be deceived by the oppressor. You understand? With that, pass the class over to priest and officer.
You want to know? I got.
Shalom, priest and captain. Sapar.
All right, we might go hit about out of here soon, y'all. But we're gonna get these security announcements, and then well, excellent class again. Give them a thumb, another hand. Another hand. Do not be deceived by these goddamn devils, and recognize that our oppressor's end is near, and he's being revealed and you know. The stuff that be coming out in the news, the White House shooting, we didn't even get into that. And it's so much in the news, like it's saturated with headlines, but it's always a distraction from, you know, what we should be talking about this Trump's cabinet or what have you. Anyway, nonetheless, security announcements. We are ISUPK on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander Johanna. New rule for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves with the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, a brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers 18, 21, Malachi 3, 8 through 10, chapter 3, 8 through verses 8 through 10. Means 10th in the Hebrew and is pronounced Ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Most High gives you, the Lord gives you. Give to the treasury part. It's like I'm reading it. I'm getting tripped up. Yeah, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund free will offering for priests, not mandatory whatsoever amount you would like to give. Up and coming holy convocation. We got the feast of first fruits, right? Or feast of what we got on the 31st. Right here, May 31st, right here in the building. What is it? It's feast of first fruits, right? It's the one that's at no, it's the one the 31st coming up next weekend. Where we at?
Yeah, but you're right. It's 31st.
Is that the one?
No.
That's last year's. Okay, but we're on the 31st though. So make sure you in the building. It's gonna be popping. All right. Remind Akim and Aquathian to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK event. Commander Johanna is going to be in the region. So look out for news. Look out for the news on Commander Johanna where he's going to be at this up and coming week. I'm not sure if he's going to be in Baltimore or DC, but we're waiting on we're waiting on information from that from his appearance, along with the other generals coming down. Go ahead.
I believe he says DC. I believe he said.
All right, DC is going to be in DC. So it might be a camp. It might be a live speaking. It might be a class. So just be tuned in on the social media. It's going to be definitely everywhere as soon as we get the final say. But again, Sunday, May 31st, the Feast of First Fruits. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be live here at the UPK, you understand? If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black shirt, black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headband, or scarf. With that, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the teacher, individual, Amayim Shabbat, Amayim, Barak, the Haba, Sinyal, Shabrakatah, Ayimata, Saul's Mister. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters online. Individual, Amayim Shabbat, Amayim, Barak, the Haba, Sinyal, Shabrakatah, Ayimata. Class dismissed.
Black Latino, and Native American. When the Lord says that our kingdom is to come, as long as we follow the law, statutes, and commandments.
I got the camera bag, I'm the cameraman. If shit getting active, I'ma stand it down. We taking ground, call the ambulance. That shit go right, right. If shit go left, you best get right, or you'll get left. You got that right. That shit go. If you got a problem, we'll handle it. Niggas acting hard, you better stand on it. We on every corner, we stamping it. You better get your life for this camp shit. We ain't playing around, there's no cowards, dog. If niggas charged up, you get powered off. Rude of speech, keep it raw. It ain't my fault that you niggas soft. It ain't my fault that these niggas frauds. Ain't my fault that them niggas rats. If your colors fly, you don't get that shit go left, right, left, right, left. If shit go left, you best get right, or you'll get left. You got that right. That shit go left, right, left. If shit go left, you best get right, or you'll get left. You got that right. That shit go.
Wanna go to war, gotta hop into the van. Tryna cut the semen, something you don't understand. Getting checked from my betterment, better take it like a man. Nigga, how you walk away for camp? If you willing to die, you better be willing to stand. Take a trip around the world, see a bunch of corners held by them UPK niggas. All them UPK niggas go to camp. And I'm on Shamar here, hanging out the car. Wonder when I pull up straight to the battlefield. And I'ma make sure niggas make it back home. Say, nigga, what you thought? Whether anything moving, I be on. Gotta remind them, we nothing like them niggas that you saw. If you hear back up, that'll be your last time to get out the way. The price to pay before.
That shit go left.
Nah, for real though.
Left. If shit go left, you best get right, or you'll get left. You got that right. That shit go left.
Nah, for real though.
Left. If shit go left, you best get right, or you'll get left. You got that.
Y'all about to y'all